Hey there, guys. And this right here that we have to the right, this is my 18-inch Hubble Optics telescope. This right here is my biggest telescope that I ever owned, and I had it for quite some time, for nearly 2 years. So, but it's been a battle. It's been a battle with this telescope. It's been a back and forth. It's been a frustration, happiness, but I've been patient through it all. And this past winter, I worked really hard to have the telescope that I have now, even though I bought it 2 years ago. So I'm gonna give you a quick tour of the entire setup I built throughout the past year, and you'll get to see the full system of this 18 Hubble Optics. I will write a summary and share my story of all the modifications that I had to do for this telescope to be functional, from the GoTo system through the structure of the telescope and the mount. A lot of things, a lot of details that had to be addressed by me. I had to build the entire GoTo system since one of my motors and encoders broke down. I dropped one of the motors, fell hard on the floor, and one of the encoders busted, so I had to order a couple parts to fix the motor. After that, I found out a couple cables also broke down, and it was a long journey that wouldn't end. A whole year of work. I was working for weeks, then I'll stop, then I'll work another week, then another testing the GoTo to see, then it was something else, then I had to open up the entire GoTo system and make it up again. When I thought it was done, something new will pop up that I had to address and fix. It was just a back and forth game that wouldn't end, but hey, that's all part of the fun. And sometimes, even when it comes to astronomy observations, that you want the results that you don't get, sometimes all of that is part of the fun, looking for the results that you can't find is frustrated too sometimes. And advanced telescopes like this I knew the challenge that was coming, but a lot of the things that broke down, I wasn't expecting that. That was another story. That I was sad, I was depressed, I didn't know what to do, but I put all my effort and I was able to build the entire GoTo all over again without the help of anyone, but just using this mind and thinking, and now it's better than ever. I ended up adding a lot of modifications from the telescope when it comes out of the box, which these telescopes are notoriously known for not performing how you want them to perform from when you receive them in your doorstep. The optics are great. The quality of the telescope is great. The materials that every structure of the telescope is made from is great quality. A lot of good things that this telescope brings to the table. It's just the functionality of the telescope that it was a big concern for me. It's a lot of red flags when it comes to performance of the function of the telescope, not the actual optics performance, but a lot of things that will intervene with what you really want to do with the telescope. And I knew that a lot of bunch of things were gonna be in the way when I got it, but I didn't know that it was gonna be to the extent that they were, especially when I got into the situation that mechanical issues and the busted encoders and the broke down motor. But here we're here, and I can't wait to show you guys how long of a way I have come to. I'm gonna show you guys. Stay tuned. And here we have it sitting on an extra large heavy duty dolly platform. It's a dolly capable of supporting the weight of a small car, which is nearly 3,000 pounds. It's the same one I use for my typical 16-inch setup, which is 300 pounds. It's made with real rubber tires, just like the materials used for real car tires, which provides a smooth ride though. They can run through many potholes in your driveway, or if you have a rough pavement in your backyard, they don't get stuck or on any little rocks or junk on the ground around your driveway like those cheap plastic tires do. So that's good. Which is perfect to move around with big dubs. It obviously comes with brakes as well, which is you definitely need when it's time to level your telescope. I also modified the handles so they can open the opposite way when it's time for observation. That way it won't get on the way when the telescope is under operation. This platform can move my 300-pound 16-inch with ease, so moving a setup half of the weight at under 150 pounds will move around effortless. So that's gonna work even better than with my 16-inch. Taking into account how light these Hubble telescopes are, so that's a big plus. And here are the handles. You see how easy you open the opposite way. I modified everything on it so that way it won't interfere when the telescope is slewing around. I also added these nice little foam pads. This is perfect when it's cold outside. You don't want to freeze your fingers, your hands. So, and it's also more comfortable to move. So I added these pads whenever I want to move it. It's perfect. And those are the brake tires. Really good quality. One of the best dolly platforms I ever owned. Those are very important. Like, you need to have them for a heavy setup. There's no way you're gonna be able to level your telescope without those brake tires. So you gotta make sure you have brakes at least in two of the tires. Could be the back ones or the front ones. They always come with the back tires, so that way you're level through the front, and then the dolly will stay still by activating the brakes in the back. So you need those. And right over here we have the top of the line Nexus DSC Pro. This is what I call the brain of the telescope. Yeah, I have it already integrated to the Nexus E.finder, which that's another cool device that I'm gonna get to, and I will show you guys how everything was integrated. This little thing right here, it has a massive database with a loaded catalog and a high-speed encoder support. It's capable of supporting 100 million steps per revolution. It has good accuracy, even a high magnification. I love it. It's incredible. It has very accurate GPS system. It even shows the exact seconds countdown in real time in your location, which I compared to a live clock, and it's the exact same time per seconds. And it also has integrated Wi-Fi, which is perfect for the excellent Sky Safari Pro, which that's another subject we're gonna get into. And here we have the top of the line eFinder. This is what I call the eyes on the sky. So the Nexus, that's what we call the brain, and this is what we call the eyes. This little device is an advanced place-solving electronic finder camera, a device that offers real-time tracking of any celestial object. It plays solve very well at accurate 15 arc per second. An amazing little device, to say the least. I drill a hole for the mountain at the top of the nose of the secondary mirror, as we see here. At first I was thinking, how am I gonna adjust this thing to be able to align with the main telescope? Well, I wasn't aware before I got it that this amazing device does not need to be precisely aligned with the main telescope. As long as it's near the ballpark, it utilized the offset misalignment between the Nexus E.finder camera and the main telescope, that allowing you the main telescope and the eFinder to align. Well, as long as the offset is just like 5 to 10 degrees, then everything will be fine when it comes to aligning it to the telescope. So it still needs some type of adjustment though, and this is where I had an idea. So back when the Seestar S50 came out, I remember I bought this useful piece of accessory to help me with the leveling of the Seestar. So I went through my inventory and decided to modify it to fit perfectly with the dovetail, and that way I'll be able to mount the eFinder right on it. And I made sure that everything was mounted high enough to have a clear view of the sky. So this Seestar accessory was perfect. Like, it came out so clutch. Like, it fit perfectly. I had to do a little modification to the screws, but it worked out just exactly what I needed. Now I'm able to adjust with ease now, even easier and better to adjust than any of my other finders I had in the past. As you guys see here, with this little Seestar accessory that I added, I'm able to find alignment to the main telescope very easy. Couldn't get any better than that. If I have to go down, up, left or right, I had to move it to this side, so I'm gonna have to realign it again when I go to the night sky. So that shouldn't be a problem. But this right here, it was great. I'm so happy I thought of that idea of adding that nice little mounting piece to the Nexus E.finder. So now this is all set and ready to go. And here you guys see as it comes with a dew shield as well. This right here is very important because I'm sure this camera is very prone to dew. So the fact that they added this nice instrument is very good of their part. Thank you Astro Device for such a cool little add-on. And as you see here, it clicks and it fits like ring to a finger. Let's move on to the next part, guys. And here, guys, I'm gonna show you a very important part of my setup. This is my main 4K monitor. This is what I call the hands of the body, the hands of my setup. And here, this 4K laptop, which flips into a single touchscreen monitor for a more comfortable installation on my telescope setup. As you guys see here, I have it set up for touchscreen mode to have it fit better on the setup. So I won't even have to look through the eyepiece to do a star alignment, since I will be seeing everything in the sky like through the vertical view of the screen. And all I'm going to need is a quick single star alignment, since the eFinder will be place solving for me anyways. I'm also gonna have the options of place solving features in all of my softwares as well if I want to do that. So whenever I want to do any type of DSO imaging or planetary imaging as well, whether it's through Nina or SharpCap or Fire Captures, I have those options too as well. And it will actually be completely hands-free, since I have this mouse connected to manage everything, and that way I'll have to do all the fun from away from the setup. After everything is ready for observations, I'll be able to enjoy the monitor as a live view, any type of imaging,
If I have to, you know how you switch settings sometimes in your software of that you choose. Sometimes you gotta, change the ISO, the gain, the exposure. So there won't be any need for me to be touching the screen of my 4K laptop. So that's why I got my mouse here already connected, and the cable is at least 20 feet long. So wherever the telescope is pointing, I can just, sit down and enjoy my night of observations, and with everything at the palm of my hands. Most times, if I want to do eyepiece observation too, that's why I'm gonna get to that part, and I'll show you guys the options that I have for that as well. My main goal in this setup was actually to not have to deal with chasing the telescope around. Let's say I point the telescope to a certain object, sometimes it can be annoying when you sit down and then you have to get up, and then you're gonna move your chair or your table where you have your laptop on. It's not an end of the world, but if you can avoid that at all costs, even better. Like, for example, my 16-inch SynScan Skywatcher. I do have a nice little setup option there where the battery is connected, attached to the mount. So sometimes I do have to move my chair to wherever the telescope points at, but it's not a big deal. I just get up, move my chair, and sit down again. But in this way that I have it right now, it's even better. One of my main goals when I started building this telescope from scratch was I want to have it as most comfortable as possible. Comfortable, being comfy when you observe anything that has to do with astronomy. Ask any real astronomer, any person that have gone through uncomfortable sections, and that's one of the most important things of amateur astronomy, making sure that you're comfortable. And that was my main goal, to be as comfortable as possible, and that was my main purpose of building this setup. I don't have to carry the laptop. I don't even have to move my chair. It doesn't matter where the telescope moves. It can go to object in the west or to the east or to wherever, and it's always gonna carry everything in one spot. It's kind of like an observatory on wheels, and that was my goal. The only thing that I have to have in my hands, the telescope goes over there, and I don't even gotta move because it's very, 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 it's very long cable, you see, guys. So not only do I get everything portable on the go when the telescope is slewing to any object, but I also avoid causing any vibrations on the telescope. Even with the touchscreen, anything that I do, if I have to touch the screen of the laptop, it's always gonna be before any star alignment is done. So it doesn't matter if any vibration happens. As long as you avoid all of that while the telescope is under operation under the night sky, then you're fine, I'm fine. I actually thought of this feature last minute because I would still be fine without it, but the fact that when I finish everything, I thought of this. I was like, hold up, I got a nice mouse that I can also link to my entire setup. Usually in the past, I used this in the past with my 16-inch, but not quite as good because the laptop was always on my hands and the cables were attached to either the camera, you know how you have to connect the cable to the laptop, from the camera to the laptop, the EAF to the laptop as well. And let's say I slew to an object, then I have to chase the object and then move my laptop. You guys probably know what I'm talking about, since a lot of you guys out there go through similar situations. So yeah, I'm gonna move on to the next part right now, which you guys will get to see the main purpose of this, like why I also don't gotta deal with having cables tangled if I move my laptop or if I move anything at all time. Everything is gonna be attached to the main system. Like I said, an observatory on wheels. That's kind of like how it feels. So let's move on to the next part, guys. Check it out. And this right here, this is what I call the nerve system. This right here is one of my best creation I ever invented for myself. So like I said, what I call here is the nerve system. This idea was crucial for me to avoid having cables crossing from a device to other devices, either from side to side, avoiding all type of spider web of cables. You know, you guys know what I mean. So yeah, this will allow me to control the entire observatory with just one plug in a very comfortable way and convenient way. But most importantly, I'll be able to have every single device here charged at all times without the need to uninstall anything, just because it needs charge. You know, it'll be charged at all times, and it'll also allow me to be hand-free. Another good thing, which that's where the mouse is connected to. So the mouse won't even be connected to the laptop. The mouse will be connected once the telescope is ready to go out there in the field. The mouse will be connected to the nerve system. No cables tangle from side to side. Like I said, everything will be coming from one unit. And the main short cable that connects the laptop to the nerve system, it doesn't even have to cross, you know, around the field. You know, like I said, I have the mouse connected to the nerve system, so that unit will always be there, and there won't be no chasing around like I talked about it earlier. There will be no tangling, everything will be very comfortable. So yeah, just plug it to the nerve system automatically, and it operates my laptop monitor. It charged my eFinder too, and my Nexus Pro, and Sky Safari monitor. While it's at it will be charged at all times, which that's another thing. But the best part of it, which I was very intrigued by the fact that I was able to kill two birds with one stone, is that it does all of that while it also able to send the data signals from my main camera for imaging, as well as controlling my EAF. Like, it can't get any better than that. Keeps everything well organized, charge everything at all times, and saves me from having to remove any device, which consumes time and my energy as well. Like, it's exhausting when you're doing those things in the long run. Like, maybe I'm exaggerating, it's not exhausting, but it's also time that you save, and you guys know that time is more valuable than money, you know? So you wanna save as much time as you can, not to mention that the time that you save is more time that you will dedicate to the night sky. So that was a big banger for me. And in the astronomy world, you know, confidence and time are the two precious things. So yeah, I don't have to be in the middle of the field and then hold up, I forgot this cable, let me go inside and, you know, charge this or charge that. So that was crucial for me. Let's move on to another part. Here, I'm gonna show you another cool little thing that I have to the left. And here we have the Sitech controller. This is what I call the muscles of the system. This Sitech technology GoTo system is very fast. It's way faster than my GoTo 16-inch Skywatcher. Now I can see why they're notoriously good for tracking satellites. Like, I'm not really interested in looking for satellites with so many celestial objects out there to see, but maybe one day I'll feel like going for that someday. And yeah, this GoTo system is really fast. Like, when I bump the power to 24 DC, it's so fast that I had to bring down the speed when I was configuring the controller in the Sitech program. Yeah, this Sitech is an advanced GoTo, as it requires more technical skills to set up and fine-tune and things like that. But the structure needs to be extremely precise. Like, not beginner friendly at all. It has a deep learning curve. It needs a lot of fine-tuning every other week. But if you're demanding extremely high accuracy with top-of-the-line GoTo, and if you're building a high-end telescope system and you're advanced at this hobby, then this system is definitely for you. Unlike the easy plug and play that you get from the typical GoTo telescopes that you buy in the market, which is not quite as good, but good enough when they're used correctly. Like, for example, my Skywatcher SynScan, I find it very good at tracking. Obviously, because I use it like as correctly as it should be. So I wouldn't say that those aren't good, but these ones are more demanding of you know, tuning correctly, doing a lot of trials every other week, making sure that all the structure of the telescope is perfectly aligned and things like that. You know, a lot of things can go wrong when you don't operate this telescope correctly, and yeah, they can get challenging, but the challenging part is part of the fun, and I enjoy it. And it was good to come along this way when I started building this setup in the beginning. Like, it was a fun journey. So yeah, here to the right, that little blinking light that you guys see, that's the Sitech Bluetooth adapter. I ended up buying that little piece, which was a little bit expensive for how small it is. I was kind of pissed that I had to buy that thing for $120 for how little it is, but it was very necessary. It made my life so much easier to configure the muscle memory on the Sitech controller, and it made it a breeze. Very easy to send all the data, all the configuration data, to my Nexus DSC Pro. So yeah, that's very good if I also want to do I want to operate my telescope through any one of my softwares on my monitor, on my laptop. Yeah, so it's good to have. It's a good option, and it's not like I'm just gonna use it one time to configure. Like, I already did all the configuration within the software of Sitech, so I will be using it maybe in the future. But as for now, everything that I have built, it's not necessary for me to take advantage of what it offers for now, but I'll keep it in mind in the future. So at least I don't want to feel like I spent $120 just to be able to configure. I'll have it on deck for the future. And here we have one of my most loved equipments. This is what I call the heart and soul of my telescope setup. This is the Bluetti power station, which is responsible for keeping all my devices charged at all times. This thing right here is a gem and worth every penny I pay for it. I'm sure there's a lot of people of you that might already have it, and I'm sure you guys love it as much as I do. So here's a list of what this does for me. So this thing powers my cool camera, it powers my EAF autofocuser, powers my Sitech GoTo motors, keeps my laptop running at all times. It charges my backup power bank in the back, which keeps all my dual heaters running at all times, which I'll show you in a second when I get there. It also powers the nerve system that I showed you a second ago. Charges my Nexus DSC Pro, powers my Nexus E.finder, and during hot summers and humid nights, I also get to plug any type of, you know, those homemade fans to keep me cool. Which, by the way, the fan is a very effective way to keep those annoying mosquitoes away, and be able to have one of those nights where bug free and have a cool observation time with the fan hitting you as you do observation times, which makes your night comfortable, like I was talking about earlier. It also powers any flat screen TV or any of my screen projector, which is perfect for outdoor activities, you know, to view objects at the size of like a theater screen to enjoy with friends, family, and neighbors. Also perfect for star parties. So this thing right here is a powerhouse. And over here to the left, this is my power supply converter. This thing allows me to have full control over the volts, direct power, which I can just go ahead and crank it up to make the drive system of my Sitech GoTo more powerful, which is beneficial for handling the load of all the extra weight added to the telescope mount and things like that. This mount is now carrying two monitors, metal plates holding the Bluetti that I constructed specifically for the weight of the Bluetti. So the actual Bluetti, the metal base I designed for the monitors and Nexus, and a bunch of other metal tools needed to make the construction work. So it definitely need more power force to be able to handle this design that I created. So it's good that I have this converter to supply the extra volts, providing by having it installed right next to the Bluetti. And here to the left side of the Bluetti and converter, I have the laptop charger, which is plugged to the Bluetti to keep my laptop charged at all times. You know, I like to keep the brightest display of my monitor screen. I like to have it up at all times to see the things better, any objects I'm observing. So the screen brightness on my laptop monitor, it's good to be up at all times. You know, when you're watching those faint objects, the last thing you want to have is the brightness down. Like, I know it conserves battery, but you know, it's already hard as it is to take a look at these space objects because of how faint and dark they are. So having a low brightness, just because you want to conserve battery, is gonna be even more difficult and less enjoyable. So you keep that brightness in your monitor up at all times, and you'll get to see it and enjoy it better by seeing it, you know, as a brighter object, you know, and not have such a rough time trying to distinguish all the details in any objects that you might be observing. So yeah, this laptop charger allows me to keep my laptop fully loaded, charged at all times, so I never have to worry about, you know, having to conserve the battery on my laptop. So, you know, especially when, you know, you're using high power caliber of a camera, which eats the battery on your laptop quick. And, you know, other things, just, you know, no matter how good of a laptop you have, you know, there's laptops that have good batteries, but there's so much the battery can last, you know. And when you are out there in the field, you want to be mind free of having to, hey, I gotta run inside, get my charger, or I gotta plug my charger. Sometimes you do have your little astronomy red light and you can see a little bit, but sometimes it's still too dark. So, you know, no need to be hitting the mount with your foot, or like stumbling across anything in your path, trying to look for the charger in your suitcase or anything like that. With this option, the charger will be by my reach at all times, and I don't even gotta worry about having to look for the cable and plug it. It's plugged to my system at all times. Laptop is showing 100% battery at all times, so that's a good thing that I was really looking forward to address. So let's move on to show you another few part of the details I have on my setup, guys. Let's check it out. And here, let's go up to the real fun part, the performance accessories. Let's start with the camera. Here I have one of my favorite cameras I have loved for quite a while, the famous ASI 2600 MC Pro. This large sensor camera is being paired with the top of the line Nexus Reducer and coma corrector, which I have right in there inside the focuser. That combo combined with the already large 18 mirror, which by the way is the F4 version of the 18-inch Hubble. Yes, I did got the F4 version for extra wide field of view, which means it's now an F3 super fast when you add on the Nexus Reducer, which that turns this setup into a powerhouse. I also have the filter wheel added up. There's no filter right now, but whenever I use one, I am gonna end up adding a field rotator, which I'm planning on getting soon, probably this week. I'll order one. I forgot about that option, but I think it's time to upgrade by adding the field rotator. And here we have a very useful piece. Here we have the EAF. It's always nice to have one added to the mix. Right here to the left, we have a dual heater that I added up to the Telrad Finder. This is one thing I've never used before because I didn't think it was necessary. I usually use the Telrad Finder for 1 minute and then I never use it again. But sometimes anything can happen, and when 30 minutes or an hour go by and somehow something happened and I decide to take a look through the Telrad Finder, it's always foggy and dewy on the glass shield. I know you guys know what I'm talking about, a lot of you out there that own a Telrad Finder. So this dual heater is always gonna be keeping my Telrad Finder nice and clear, but it will be powered through this is the power bank I have in the bag, which it will be powered by the dual shield is gonna be powered by that. Well, at the end of the day, it is technically powered by the Bluetti because the Bluetti keeps my backup power bank charged at all times. But the reason why I wanted to have one in the bag is because I did not want to have a cable from the dual heater all the way to the Bluetti, which is in the bottom of the mount. So this backup power bank is also gonna be powering, let me show you guys, back to the secondary mirror, which I didn't get to show you. I almost skipped this part. Here guys, I'll show you how I do this for all my telescopes, especially all my Newtonians, which they're prone to getting a lot of dew on the secondary mirror. So right here, I have another dew heater for my secondary mirror, and the backup power bank is gonna be powering that dew heater as well. So basically what that backup power bank is gonna be for is for the dew heaters. So I don't even gotta go and hit the button in the back. Just by a button here, it cranks up the secondary mirror dew heater, and this one also has a control system right here. The typical hand pad that every GoTo system gets. This is the original one that comes with the Hubble Optics. It's a quick grab, and if I ever want to do like eyepiece observation too, and I don't want to like fire up my entire system, so yeah, I also have the control for the EAF. That's another thing that is gonna be serviceable for when I do eyepiece observation. Like guys, not only am I gonna have this amazing setup for like everything in the book, but it's also gonna include the old-fashioned eyepiece observation, which I love very, very much, and I'm never gonna stop loving that, the natural way of taking a look at an object. So you know, I'm glad I have this one. I stole it from my other setup. I'm gonna keep it here for now because I might test a few eyepiece within the next couple of days. And here guys, we have the monitor that I set up for the Sky Safari Plus, which is gonna be the eyes in the sky as well. This will show me all the coordinates, where my scope is pointing, whenever I slew on the sky, wherever it's gonna be pointing at all times. I'm happy that I added this to my telescope system, and everything is gonna be working together at all times. It's gonna be working with the Nexus DSC Pro, with the Sitech drive system, with my 4K laptop monitor. Everything is gonna be linked to the nerve system as well, and it's actually paired right now with the access point Wi-Fi of the Nexus DSC Pro.
Fair. Current temperature 61 degrees. Button. Double tap to activate.
As you guys see here, I have a pair with my Nexus DSC Pro. You guys see it right there. Link to the Nexus, and here we have
Sky Safari 7 Plus.
And here we have the Sky Safari Plus. That's another feature of my telescope setup, and that is a very cool setup I did here. Everything is gonna be moving with the mount, as you guys gonna see in the end of the video. So everything is already configured. The DSC Pro is already configured with the Sitech motors, the muscles as I called, and this little device I was talking about earlier, the Sitech Bluetooth. It was the little device that allowed me to send all the encoders information and everything, all the information from the muscle memory of the Sitech side rail to the Nexus DSC Pro. And from there, once the Sky Safari Plus is linked and paired to my DSC access point Wi-Fi, it automatically will take the information from the brain of this cool little device. First things first, on paper this telescope looks very promising, and there are some sexy looking telescopes on paper, and when you see them online and stuff like that, but the telescope mount and the design, like the figure shape, and mostly the Sitech GoTo kit, will not be what you want when you receive it. And I'm being honest with you. Like when you get it at your doorstep, it may be one of the few people who knew about the trouble. I might be one of them, but I still got it since I was up for the challenge. You know, this is what I do best, like creating my own ideas, as I always have, with the little tricks I always have up my sleeve, ready when it comes down to the task of big telescopes. Like figuring out these large dubs has always been one of the things I love doing and I enjoy doing. So I knew it was gonna be a little stressful, and I knew it wasn't gonna be receive your package and open it, have it installed like you do with a Skywatcher telescope and expecting to have it ready for that same day. Like I knew that was not gonna happen. So, and I know that Hubble Optics, the site online, mentioned how you can do a fast installation, but that is not the case here. Like this is not the Obsession or Explorer Scientific or Skywatcher brand where there's like little to no assembly complications out of the box. It's just basically like a plug and play. Those telescopes that you get ready out of the box, this is not one of them. So even as the basic manual model of the Hubble Optics, like the non-GoTo Dobsonian from Hubble, there will be some playing around with the telescope, some modifications and back and forwards before you even move forward, especially with the Sitech GoTo kit like being added to the mix. This is not a telescope you assemble in hours, I'm not gonna lie to you, and it's magically working with no issues and tweaks. Sometimes the days will go by, the weeks will go by before you end up putting the telescope to the side and pick up where you left off the next day or next week. Electrical and hardware tools, you need to have some type of tools at home to be able to, put this thing together. This ring with the 6 springs that I added just so it can have a more steady and solid collimation, and that right there solved the issue of all the Newtonians that deal with that problem. It's a typical issue that every Newtonian has suffered from. So even my 16-inch Skywatcher doesn't stay collimated, which is fine because I don't mind taking a few seconds to collimate every night. I take the telescope outside in the field, but with this added modification, I won't have to stop in the middle of the night to check the collimation to see how it's going. So this right here solved that issue. It turns the collimation more solid for sure. So I was happy to add that modification. Here I added these wheel bearings. I installed all 4 of them in each corner to keep because this Hubble Optics, they have that big issue where the arm bearing wobbles to the side when you're slowing in altitude. I guess it has to do a lot with the lightweight of the structure of the design. So I heard a lot of issues from people mentioning how they had to find a solution to solve that problem. So these wheel bearings, they solved that issue for me. I designed them myself. I did one of my inventions and made them work. So it stays in place, it's solid, it doesn't wobble. So that was one big issue that took me some time to figure out. I couldn't find something that will work as good as this. With these right here, the wheels, they move. So when the telescope goes up and down, the wheels move, and it keeps the arm bearings from not moving or wobbling to the side. Here I added this little piece right here to keep the steel cable from not slipping to the sides. This right here keeps the wire in place. So this was a headache at the beginning of the journey, but with time I got the hang of it, and it's very, very good now. It took a lot of fine tuning, a lot of back and forth. Took me weeks to make it work the correct way so the telescope can function correctly. So it's not easy. It's a deep learning curve at first, but with dedication and effort, I figure it out. And here I have more of the, here you see the steel wheel bearings that I added. I have all 4 of them. I did 2 springs to keep the azimuth more solid from the Lazy Susan. So right there, I don't get no more errors. It's solid and it moves smooth now. It's very smooth. So that's another thing that solved my problems. One of my problems, many problems. So we're good with that now. Here I put extra washers in every single truss tube just to make the design of the truss tubes more rigid, you know, more solid. And here I added this little cage here to carry the backup power bank, and at the same time I get to use it for putting any weight in there if I need more counterweights, even though I already got 2 of them right here. But here I also use as a space to put one of my favorite eyepiece, and the weight of the eyepiece actually helps with the counterweight. So I use one of my Morpheus eyepiece and I put it there when I go to the field, and whenever I want to do eyepiece observation, I can just grab it from there, insert it in the focuser and do observations. And this is the cage right here.